From SPI's Executive Briefing Center in Dallas, Texas, the most watched and listened to content in B2B sales and marketing, it's the SBI Podcast with your host, Matt Shares.
Welcome to the SBI TV show, a weekly show dedicated to helping you make your number. Today we're going to discuss the ongoing issue of marketing and sales interlock. What a hot topic. How do you get these two pivotal growth functions to work together better? And how do you get them to work together so you can grow faster than the industry and the competition? I am your host, Matt Shares. I'm the CEO of SBI. And joining me in the studio today is somebody who's incredibly qualified to talk about this, who is Stephen Thomas. Stephen's the SVP of Sales for Armor Cloud Security. And I'm not going to try to describe what Armor Cloud does because Stephen's going to do it way better than I can. But Stephen, first off, great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming by, and I know you and I know a bunch of the same people. So I think by way of introduction, maybe just tell us a little bit about you, your role, and then tell us a little bit about Armor Cloud and what you guys do.
Sure. So Stephen Thomas, SVP Global Sales.
Okay.
So been at Armor for a little over a year now.
Okay.
We are a hybrid cloud security as a service offering. So if you looked at the website, you see full stack security as a service, compete generally in the mid-market space.
Okay.
So we were talking about target customer size. Generally for us, that's 50 million upwards to 3 billion.
Okay, got it, very good. And if I was a head of sales or a CMO or a CEO watching this show and I was thinking about, and I hadn't heard of you, and I said, ooh, who do they compete with so I can sort of wrap my head around your competitive set?
Sure.
Who would be a couple of folks that you guys sort of battle it out with?
Yeah, you could think about three categories.
Yeah.
The managed detection and response world,
Yep.
so the Red Canaries of the world.
Okay.
On the bigger side, the SecureWorks of the world on the managed security service provider side.
Yep.
Then on the technology stack, sometimes we run into folks like AlertLogic, Alien Vault, folks of that nature.
All right, very good. Today, Stephen and I are going to unpack this whole concept of interlock. And those of you who don't own sales and marketing, but own a revenue number, this is going to be a great show for you. And if you're a CEO and you're saying, how do I get my two favorite children, sales and marketing, to play in the same sandbox, I think you're going to like this show. For those of you that are watching or listening out there, if you want to have access to our content and you have an iPhone, all you have to do is go to the Apple Store, download the SBI app by searching for Sales Benchmark Index, and then you can use the iPhone to give you notifications on your commute, when you're traveling, on your way to CrossFit to get yourself all fired up. So we're going to jump into the questions. So Stephen, let's talk about in this segment, I want to unpack touch points between sales and marketing. Hot topic.
Sure.
A lot of our work is pushed in and around optimizing the go-to-market engine. And you can't go to market if you don't have sales and marketing interlocked. So as a way to just start the conversation, how do you think about that? And maybe how has your opinion changed over the years, knowing, some of the places that you've worked?
A little bit over the years. So if you think about where we've come from 10 to 20 years ago, two very distinct functions between sales and marketing.
Yep.
Marketing was providing kind of core air coverage,
Yep.
sales out there on an account basis doing the work, and there was often what I would describe as a disconnect between the two from a vision and mission perspective, both in goal of the company.
Yeah.
That's transformed for me, and I think for a lot of companies today, to what is a very tight marriage being required between sales and marketing around mission and vision.
Yep.
And so if I think about how that manifests itself in my world today, that means I've got to drive in coordination with my CMO, Diana Massaro, on a daily basis. And that looks like, we're going to talk about account-based marketing today a little bit, but getting the teams operating on a daily basis together in the work they do and not operating in silos.
Yep. So let's talk about that. So how do you and Diana, I guess, work together to have a single view of the customer, have a single view of the output that you're both, because you can't be successful without her.
Sure.
She can't be successful without you. So let's talk about single view. Single view of the customer, single view of success, single view of go-to-market.
So I'd start out with booze. In the sense that we talk a lot both professionally and personally. So that interlock between the two individuals is critical. So if you're not doing that work, you're not doing yourself any favors with regards to your marketing peers. So I think that's an easy place to start. The second is aligning against your target market. So if you go through any go-to-market exercise, you're going to identify your core customer set. And so doing that work and then identifying the buyers and the buyer personas you're going to be pursuing and aligning against that vision, that's critical. We're lucky enough at Armor to have over 1,200 customers that actively buy from us. And so we were able to go out and do inspection amongst that customer group to understand who our real customers were. In some cases, DevOps, some cases CISO, et cetera. But that was the initial work to be done. And then the next piece of work that we're doing right now is how do we translate that to the teams and make sure that they understand and they're enabled on what those buyers look like, what they need to hear and want to hear, and all of the pieces around that.
So 1,200 customers, growing quickly, you and Diana are interlocked. What signifies the right handoff between marketing and sales? And almost think about like the dispositioning of a lead, right? And I use that term because a lot of people define it differently, and we won't go crazy on that right now, but how have you guys normalize that at Armor?
So maybe I'll give you two views because I know you've got a lot of your viewers and customers that are effectively inbound shops today or even account-based marketing shops today. But in that inbound world today, explicitly marketing is doing scoring against a core set of metrics, which is engagement with us, either through syndication or other vehicles. And once that scoring rubric meets a certain level, they're then passing that off to our BDR team. Now, I think most companies have a pretty critical decision to make these days around insource or outsource of the BDR organization. We've decided to insource. Our volume of leads and kind of the transformation that our business is undergoing right now is manifests itself in the sense we need that team.
Such but that it requires it.
Exactly. That handoff, though, between marketing and sales occurs right there. So once that MQL scores up, it then falls into the BDR team. They then go through their qualification process. Then it passed off to the sales team as a sales accepted lead and kind of a standard process that I think you and most of your teams understand.
Love it. Okay, very good. Last question in this segment. So we often find that folks are content and collateral starved these days. So marketing's trying to have enough content to deliver the right message at the right time. BDR says, okay, reached out, Steven picked up the telephone, but he's not ready yet. Still got to keep him warm, but it's in the ICP, and I know it. Sales is saying, I'm in a sales campaign, I've had a meeting, but it's not a hot opportunity, doesn't clear the hurdle. I need something to stay relevant. Everybody's got a relevancy need, and you're smiling because I know this is a challenge. So how do you and Diana think about content and multi-channel content?
So I'm smiling because you think about the cybersecurity landscape these days, and there's over 2,000 firms in the space today. So distinguishing the message is simply not easy these days. And so really, I would take you back to the buyer persona and really identifying who our true customers are and our target customers are. And then understanding and being able to have a regular conversation with them about what's the content that they're seeking. And we're lucky enough, and I would have invited you over to our studio to have our own small video studio where we produce content with our Chief Information Security Officer, our threat hunting teams. We hired... one of my favorite hires has been Rafael Los, who runs a widely distributed podcast and Down the Security Rabbit Hole. So again, it's taking the different vehicles of video, social, and then your standard case studies, white paper references, and finding the different vehicles by which your team can deliver that. And you've got to provide the tooling for your team to be able to deliver that, because asking a seller these days to simply go and approach LinkedIn and populate something, it's not going to happen. You've got to really help them on that journey to get there if they've not already gotten there. No doubt.
So what you should take from this segment, and if you think about being on the bleeding edge, video and the production of video and the way people consume it, and many of you right now are watching, and we're on video, and this is long form, but it will be redistributed in various different mechanisms, is you've got to understand which buyers pay attention to which modes of content, and then to Steven's point, you've also got to enable the sales team. Typical sales people are not great at writing, they're not great at sort of coming up with the message. They're great at running the plan, give me my patch, tell me how I get paid, tell me the message, and I'll go. And a lot of folks are missing that connectivity, but still getting frustrated that the sales team doesn't feel like they're as productive. So I think that was well said by you.
Can I tie in one last thing there,
Please.
and that is the personalization of the content.
No doubt.
And not overcomplicating that.
Yep.
Deliver the core.
Yep.
Let your sellers personalize in small tidbits.
Yep.
Don't overcomplicate for your seller.
Yep. Well done. All right. Well, Stephen, I could keep you here for a few more hours, but I have to be judicious with time because I know you have things to do. But man, I appreciate you stopping by. Great insight and very tangible that people can take away. So thanks.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Yeah. So, and to the audience, always appreciate you taking the time to tune in with your eyes and your ears. You have a choice on where you put them, and the fact that you spent some time with us means a lot to me and my team. So as always, until next time, I wish you good luck as you try and make your number.
This has been the SBI Podcast. For more information on the studio, SBI's Executive Briefing Center, our team, or to schedule a workshop, please visit salesbenchmarkindex.com.